Apple provides a plethora of hardware and software to stay extremely healthy. In today's video, I'm gonna go through all the features that I love using and how they positively impact my life so that way I can stay healthy for as long as possible. Now, most of us probably love using Apple devices for tracking our steps, maybe your sleep, but there's a ton more features that I'm gonna show you. And they're all gonna be inside of the Apple Health app. So the first thing I would do is find the Apple Health app. It's the white app with the heart logo. And inside, the first thing I like to do is set up my favorites. So what are the metrics that I'm trying to measure, optimize for, and keep in a certain range? If you already have a list, you can go ahead and tap edit to see a larger list of other options. And the lists are endless. So it's gonna show you a ton of data that you've already captured or that you can capture. And if you wanna select it, go ahead and tap star and tap done, and it's gonna add that to your favorites list. So I just added iron intake from nutrition. Now here's a list of my current favorites. The first one is blood glucose. So you can see these are all the data sources that I can actually write that data. Typically I'll be using these top 4 apps and I'll write my glucose data. Next is blood pressure. I have a blood pressure monitor that I use very rarely, but I like to just have that information there just in case. Then cardio fitness, which is my VO2 max number. I'm currently downtrending, but ever since I started running and realizing the importance of VO2 max, I love seeing this update over time. So this is kind of a reminder that I need to start running again. Currently injured right now, but I'll get back into it soon. Heart rate variability, a metric that's been made famous with a lot of new fitness wearables. I love tracking this number and seeing the trend overall. If it drastically changes, then I will look into it more. If it doesn't, I just leave it as is. Resting heart rate, if it's trending in the wrong direction like it is right now, I probably need to do more cardiovascular exercise. Sleep, I just like to see the total time I've slept. I sleep a lot, I need a lot of sleep. Steps, this is not normal, y'all. I don't average around 2,000 steps. It's more like in the 15 to 20,000. We just lost a foot. But I like to see, am I hitting my typical 15 to 18,000 steps per day range? Time in daylight. This is a new feature on the beta right now, but I can see how much time am I spending outside. I think they recommend that you get 80 to 120 minutes outside. So that's been my current goal. I want to avoid ruining my eyes even more. Weight, I prefer to import this from a smart scale. And it's just nice to see the trends. Like, I am gaining weight, that was the intention, but I think now it's time to start losing weight again. But if you're trying to gain muscle mass, you wanna see that your weight's uptrending. If you're trying to lose body fat, are you downtrending? So I like to have a smart scale that will automatically input that data for me. And lastly, wrist temperature, just being able to see, hey, am I sick? I know there was one day where I had a little bit of a minor fever here, and seeing that on my watch, my Oura ring, and my Whoop strap, is really valuable to be like, all right, if all the devices are saying it, something might be wrong. Those are my current favorites that I'll look at on a kind of daily basis. And if you have the new iPad OS, bada bing, bada boom, check that out. You can get all of your favorites right here. It looks so clean, pristine, and I love this because then I can also see like trends. Like, I'm injured, so right now my active energy, exercise minutes and steps, flights climbed are going down. I can't allow this to impact my mental state, but it's a recognition that I am not moving as much as I used to. I love seeing kind of my highlights, right? Post-workout. Is my heart rate lowering faster than it used to? That's a good sign. Sleep. Am I getting the total amount of sleep that I prefer? Overall activity. Am I trending in a good direction? Stand hours. Overall steps. I love having these kind of like trends and notifications inside of the Apple Health app. And if I'm wearing other brands of devices like my Garmin watch, Coros watch, or a Fitbit, I can actually pull most of that data into Apple Health. And then anytime I need to access that data, I can actually read the same Apple Health data from a variety of other apps too. One thing that is really neat, for example, like nutrition, if you're using like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer, you can actually write your nutrition data, you know, kind of like an average of what you're eating in the app, and then different services can read it. And what's really cool is if Whoop reads that data, it can give me insights into, hey, if my fiber intake is decreasing and now it's noticing my recovery score also decreasing, that could be a correlation. And maybe if I increase my fiber intake, there's a potential that my recovery score could also help increase as well. So just having all of these apps integrate together is so powerful. These are all the categories in terms of importing data from kind of smart trackers, your phone, right? We've got your typical activity stuff. We've got body measurements. Like I can use the smart suit to measure my body fat and different parts of my body. Hearing, which is like noise. We'll go into that later. My heart. Typical heart rate, resting heart rate, walking, AFib, medications. We'll talk about that too. Mental well-being, which is a new feature, so you can also journal about how you're feeling. Mobility, this will use my Apple Watch to measure my mobility and walking. This is really great for folks who maybe have higher probabilities of falling. This can actually potentially predict, hey, your walking form has changed, your walking steadiness is lowering. Let's be mindful. Nutrition, right? We've got a whole bunch of nutrition stuff. Caffeine tracking, you know I love caffeine tracking. Respiratory rate, blood oxygen, like all that information is here. I have asthma, and whenever I use my inhaler, wow, it's been over a year. Sleep, Making sure to activate the sleep tracking feature on the Apple Watch. All right, you can also manually do it by going to focus mode and turning on sleep right here and seeing those trends over time. So here's my schedule. You can change your schedule, but this is your typical sleep schedule, and sleep mode will activate and turn off at those times. I am living a very luxurious life and I don't use alarms. It's a big privilege, but you can also turn that on and have it set for certain days of the week. You can change your schedule as needed, whatever that might be. I try to aim for 9 hours of sleep. Make sure to turn on sleep schedule so that you get sleep tracking data. Symptoms. So every time you do an EKG, ECG on your Apple Watch, you can insert any symptoms. I think at one point I had chest tightness, so I put that in, but that information will be available here. Vitals. This is all the vital information that's measured from smart devices, like mostly consumer devices. I used to have a smart thermometer that would measure my body temperature. Your generic vitals that you might see at your doctor are here. And then kind of your other data. I do have a smart blood alcohol content tracker that I try to use anytime I indulge in adult beverages, and this way I know what days I have consumed it, what numbers I was at, just to kind of get a vague idea. It's good to know. If I went into a body of water, it will measure the water temperature. That's kind of cool. And when I do hand washing, wash your hands for more than 3 seconds, okay? And there are a ton of other features and data that can be tracked, whether it's manually in the health app or there are other apps that will integrate and automatically write that for you. But that is not the only interesting part. There's one thing that I love that most people don't use, and that is inputting your clinical health data, like from your doctor, from hospitals, like blood work that you do, whether it's like from Quest Diagnostics or LabCorp or other places, into Apple Health, and then you can even read that information in other apps. Super cool. So that's where the health records section comes in. I can go ahead and tap all records. I can see my last blood panel that was done at Quest Diagnostics. I can see what's in range. If there are certain things out of range, like my white blood cell count is out of range, that number will show up here. If like my testosterone is too high, it's out of range. I can see that right here. Yep. I stopped taking Tonkat Ali and it's still high. What's good? Watch my testosterone video. Maybe it's just all the working out. It's not the supplements. Stop taking supplements. Don't buy it. Code Shervin below. Don't buy it. Allergies. No known allergies. Clinical visits. This will be data actually from my doctor's office. So from Kaiser Permanente, they would integrate, and all my data, body temperature, height, weight, all of the same information across all the visits that I've been over there. Conditions. I have ADHD and asthma. I guess now you know. Immunizations. Other vaccines that I've taken. Yes, I've done the COVID-19 vaccine. Sue me. You can see all the vaccines that I've had since childhood. Get your vaccinations. Blood work results. And finally, medication records. There's even spots for procedures and clinical notes, which I have no data for. Now you're like, Shervin, how do I get that information in my app? What do I need to do? So as you can see here, I've logged in a couple of places where I'm able to download that information. You just need to scroll to the bottom of the browse page on Apple Health, right? Tap add accounts and then search for whatever it might be. Quest Diagnostics, LabCorp, they're nationwide, so you can just log in once, and anytime you go there, the data is imported. Kaiser Permanente, I think there's like multiple locations you need to add from depending on where you are. But for the most part, you can just find your doctor's office, the hospital, whatever it is. You log in here and that information will automatically get downloaded to Apple Health. Let's say your hospital isn't listed here, but you've been to a medical facility that maybe has some of your information, you can still log in there. So Kaiser Permanente, I haven't been there for like 4 or 5 years, but I was able to download all of my info from there. The offices that I visit in New York City, they don't have it on this app. Mount Sinai now works. Maybe they do. You can go ahead and select the medical facility that you typically go to. You'll log in and then it will add that account and download it for you. And what's super neat is when I go get blood work done at Quest Diagnostics, Apple Health will notify me as soon as the results are ready. So I don't have to wait for the email. Sometimes their systems take longer, but as soon as it's in Quest, boom, Apple Health knows, and bam, I have that information on my phone. I don't need to wait for the PDF. I don't need to wait for the doctor. And I love that it's even faster than the medical facility sometimes. Right? See, even Brian thinks it's cool, eh? Tejas, you got that set up? Huh? Exactly. This is pretty cool, right? There's still more to come. Send this video to a friend that you think could find a lot of value in this and might want to connect all their data to their iPhone. One thing to keep in mind is sometimes these things sign out, so you have to kind of go back and sign back in. Sometimes this happens like every couple months. I'm like, oh. But if you want to keep the most up-to-date information, you'll have to log back in. I'm not sure what the regulations are there. Health checklist. This is really important. I highly recommend you go through this health checklist. I love activating my medical ID. So if anything happens to me and I'm wearing my Apple Watch, people can go ahead and activate my medical ID right here, just in case anything happens. Like, all that information is here, so that way the EMS or hospital that I'm at, if I'm not conscious, they can extract that information and know who I am. If my phone is with me, they can also activate it here. They just slide medical ID and it's gonna lock your phone. So just know that they can't access your phone. They're just getting your basic medical data or stealing your personal information. Let's hope not. But make sure all of that is up to date. Then is emergency SOS. You can also do this in settings and you can search for each of these as well. But I like to keep on the call with hold and release just in case something goes wrong. There are some other options here that you can activate, like call quietly if you're someone who doesn't want to create loud noises with it. And knowing that with the Apple Watch, you can also activate that. When you do activate that, it will contact your emergency contacts and it will call 911 and it will send your location to your emergency contacts. If something goes wrong, there is the emergency SOS with satellite on the newest iPhone, which is really cool. You can kind of demo that if you need to. I hope I never have to use these features, but I just try to make them active for a little bit of peace of mind and insurance in the back of my head. Crash detection, fall detection, I keep these on. I did recently fall, and if for some reason no one was there and I was unable to get up, it would have called someone for help, right? Really important, it could save your life. I like to keep that on. Luckily, I was able to get myself back up, so I didn't call anybody. Low heart rate, high heart rate notifications. Extreme elite athletes, you're gonna get those low heart rate notifications. Just know that like it can be appropriate. But for the most part, these are helpful. ECG app I got set up. AFib I turned on for certain reasons in another video. Go watch that. Blood oxygen is on. Walking steadiness is on. Headphone notifications is on. Protect your hearing. We'll talk about that. Noise notifications as well, right? Especially for walking steadiness. If you're someone who has a potential risk of falling, this is going to help notify you if you're increasing your likelihood of falling. Cycle tracking. This only applies to a certain part of the population. I wish I could test it out, but I cannot. But you can go ahead and track your cycle within the Apple Health app. If you're using an Apple Watch, I think it can use the wrist temperature as well. You can use this to track your cycles. I think you have to manually input it right now, but I would love to see a world where we're using the wrist temperature sensor on the watch as well. Tell me if I'm wrong. But there is like the Oura Ring plus natural cycles, and those could be like plan or prevent pregnancy options. Really interesting, really fascinating technologies coming out, but also be mindful that you really want to protect any of your health information, right? This is encrypted. It cannot be read by anyone, including Apple. And make sure anytime you have health information, it is protected and not used by the wrong contenders. You don't want Facebook targeting you with ads when they know you haven't slept well, and thus your likelihood to buy products is higher. So keep all that information away. Sharing. This is a new feature where you can actually share your health data with a friend. Luckily, my guy Scott was like, hey man, I'll share my health data with you. I haven't shared it back. I don't know, there's a bug. But he's shared his workouts with me. I know that his cardio fitness is higher than mine. His resting heart rate is typically way better than me. I think he's in like the 50s or 40s. But he doesn't get as much sleep as I do. So this is cool. You can share this information with your parents. I can see his health trends. Like he's kind of like pretty stable overall in most of his trends. Pretty good. Not improving, not declining. Keeping it steady. So if you want to share it with like a family member, keep them accountable. Partner, it's a great way to do that. Now you can tap. So here's how I would share. I'd tap their name, set up manually. I can say which ones I want to turn on. We're actually going, I can even share my blood work. So I could go into my lab results. Maybe all we want to do is share testosterone because we're such bros. I'd find testosterone. I say on. I say next. It's all I'm sharing with him. Share. So now he's going to be able to see my testosterone numbers whenever they get updated at Quest Diagnostics. He'll also get notified. It's just a fun little way, I guess. You could share more stuff with other friends. So sleep tracking. If you want to activate sleep tracking, go to the clock app, go to alarms, and inside you're going to see sleep wake. It's going to say no alarm tomorrow morning. You want to create and turn that on. And here is where you can say, all right, when my bedtime is, wake up time. These are approximate to help activate and deactivate sleep mode. And then you can turn your alarm on and off. And if you need to change the sleep schedule, you say edit and sleep health. It brings you here. Make sure your sleep schedule is on. I like using schedule for sleep focus as well. I turn a wind down on 45 minutes before. I set a sleep goal. It's going to track my time in bed with my iPhone as well. Sleep reminders, sleep results. So turn all of these on. You can edit your schedule. If you have different schedule for weekday, weekends, you can set that up by adding a new schedule. And I can also go ahead and activate this in the Apple Watch app. Track sleep with Apple Watch. Make sure that is on. Charging reminders. Make sure that is on. So you can hop through all these apps. It's going to be the clock app, and then it's going to take you to the health app, and then finally the Apple Watch app to make sure all these settings are turned on. Noise. Now, if you've ever been to a concert and there's loud music, you know, it's a lot of fun, energy, you feel great. But then when it's over and you're walking home, your ears are ringing. No bueno, not good. So one thing that I've been mindful of is noise levels, whether that's headphones or the ambient noise levels around me. One thing that is in the settings app is headphone safety. You go to open settings, search headphone safety, tap that. It's going to open this up. You can reduce loud sounds, and then you can also set a kind of max level for your headphones. Mine's at 90 decibels, which is about as loud as a motorcycle. I don't want to allow my phone to get any louder because I don't want to damage my ears. Like maybe accidentally I hold the volume button and it goes way too high. These are kind of the limits that I've set. Headphone notifications, because I've set it to that level, I never go past it, but you can see if maybe you've gone too high too many times. The next piece is noise. So this is external noise. And what I use is the Apple Watch. Open the noise app. This will give me the decibels of noise going on. If I yell really loud, it's gonna show really high sounds. And if I don't say anything, it's gonna be really quiet in the green. And you can see right here, it's gonna tell me which sounds are appropriate level, which ones might be too loud, which ones, how long. So 90 decibels, 30 minutes a day can actually cause temporary hearing loss. There's a weekly limit. 100 decibels, even a few minutes a day at this level can cause temporary hearing loss. The weekly limit is 20 minutes. Note that water and wind can affect these, so just keep in mind if you're showering or if it's windy outside, it might think that it's way too loud. I love to have that data on my iPhone and tracked because then I can see what days I might have been exposed to really high audio levels. So for example, right here, you can even see 1:49 in the morning. I was probably at a location with very high loud volumes, like a bar, a concert. So if you are in these settings, what I like to do now is I bought these super cheap earplugs. They will modify the sound to protect your ears a little bit more. So that's the one thing that I've been really mindful of. Yeah, it does give me a little bit of anxiety when I go to a place and it's loud and I forget my earplugs, but protect your hearing. One thing I do want to do is go test noise levels at like group fitness classes, bars, clubs, and concerts. If you're curious, let me know in the comments and I'll make that video. Now back to the medications that we just talked about. So if you go to the Apple Health app, you tap browse, you can find medications. If you scroll down, boom. Now you can add medications. You can track your medication intake. You can make sure and get reminders that you're taking your medications at the time of day when you need to. And this is all encrypted, protected, and not readable by anyone other than Apple or people who have access to your phone. So I can go ahead and tap my medication. You can scan it or type it in. So I can find some of my favorites. Inhalation, it's gonna show, oh, what kind is it in? Next, I think I use that one. Next, and every day I need to use it at these times. Tap next, choose the shape. It's an inhaler, but I'm just gonna go with that. I can choose a color, boom, next. Medical interactions, I can input those as well. Boom, done. And now I can get follow-up reminders if I need to. I just need to activate that in settings. But my medications will now be listed here. It has the time of day, and I can tap and submit that I actually took that medication. This is really valuable if you need to be taking certain medications every day. I'm fortunate enough where I've kind of like weaned off of it and I only do when I need to, but this is available. Love this feature. Then the last piece is your mental well-being. So this is really cool because it actually gathers a lot of things like mindful minutes if you do any kind of meditation, your overall sleep, if you exercise, like those are all important to your mental well-being, as well as time and daylight that we talked about. Huberman is saying, get your sunlight in the morning. And then here you can start to log your emotions and moods. So I can tap get started. I can see what the benefits are. And now I can set a time that I want to log and how I feel. I can drag this in terms of, oh, I feel very pleasant or very unpleasant. We're gonna put very pleasant because we're filming a video. I feel excited, surprised, passionate, and happy. Next, what's having the biggest impact? Health and self-care, because I can't do any fitness right now. It is logged. It is now in my daily mood tracker and I can use this. It is encrypted, protected, just like everything else. They have a whole bunch of great articles that you can also read through. This is applicable to all of these sections available on Apple Health. And lastly, you can go ahead and see all of your data and the trends over time. Like I said, my favorite features in Apple Health are creating some favorites right here, right? I want everything to automatically be inputted. 2, signing up for any clinical accounts that I can import into my Apple Health app, so getting all my blood work, vaccines, and other data. And 3, making sure that my headphone safety and noise level apps are activated and I stay mindful about my hearing. Since you enjoyed this video, go watch my video where I talk about how to make the Apple Watch as accurate as possible. We go through all the settings. What you need to do is set it up. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Strava at Shervin Shares. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.